So days after our government said chun chun ke marenge and our forces have delivered, let's take a look at some of the experts who decode India's precision strike on the Pakistani terror dens under Operation Sindoor.
Ladies and gentlemen, exactly 5 hours before Bharat's Operation Sindoor, Prime Minister Modi sent out a cryptic message that for decades, India would worry before taking a big decision. What will the world think? Will we get votes or not? But not today. Was this an indication that Mazboot Bharat will exercise its right to act against terror? The intent and the political will was clear, has been clear for years now. The forces got a free hand, and what transpired was a strategic and symbolic masterstroke. Political will and military prowess avenged the martyrs of Pahalgam. To decode the symbolism of Operation Sindoor and the strategy behind it, I'm joined by former Army Chief General Bikram Singh, former Air Chief Falihomi Major, and former Air Chief RKS Bhadoria. All of them joining me. It's a great moment of honor for me to have all three of you on the show tonight. My first question to you, Falihomi Major. 2008, of which we've spoken on several occasions, when you waited for the permission to come, it never came. How different was 2008 from 2025, the manner in which Operation Sindoor was undertaken? Deception, suddenness, despite the expectation and the vigil by Pakistan. What does that really show about the new India that we live in today?
Good evening, Navika and fellow panelists. It fills me with pride today that what happened early this morning with Operation Sindoor was perhaps the most outstanding message that this country has sent out to Pakistan after many, many years. And may I say that to begin with, I would like to congratulate the Indian Armed Forces for such a well-planned, well-conceptualized, well-coordinated, and well-executed operation which was done early this morning. What happened in 2008, let's forget about it, because we can't go back to those days. The will of the country, the professionalism of the armed forces was wonderfully demonstrated and executed early this month. And in this Operation Sindoor, our country perhaps has also gained a huge aim around the world for our restraint and for our consideration while planning such kind of operations against the kind of people you have in Pakistan. I think we've taught them a lesson. Even after this, if they haven't learned anything, we'll be very, very sad. And I hope that wisdom prevails, and these guys know that what has happened today can be repeated 100 times by a country which is more resolved, more robust, more powerful than they ever can be.
Well said, Falihomi Major, but let me also get in Air Chief Marshal RKS Bhadoria. Mr. Bhadoria, the question is, how precise were these attacks? The briefing that was given by the government shows complete devastation. The difference in approach very clear from the fact that not just in POK, today's targets were well within Punjab in Pakistan, right up to Bahawalpur, where these terror camps and all the three terror organizations from Lashkar-e-Toiba, Hizbul Mujahideen, as well as Jaish-e-Mohammed have suffered serious losses, and clearly inflicting a bad wound on also the ego of Pakistan, given the fact that these missiles went literally 100 kilometers inside of Pakistan to damage these terror camps. And the kind of damage that we are seeing is evident from the mass funerals that are taking place, attended by the top brass of the army, clearly showing that there is no dividing line between the terror targets and the army of Pakistan.
Absolutely. The targets that were chosen, the 9 targets, 5 in POK, 4 in Pak, they were all hit with precision, very, very accurate attack, obviously use of precise and precision weapons, pinpoint accuracy, not only to damage the targets that were chosen, but also to ensure that there was no collateral damage and there were no civilians kind of infrastructure that was damaged or civilians directly targeted or came into this target zone. So overall, I think from execution point of view, an excellent execution by the armed forces. And the choice of targets, the width that you mentioned right across, the depth, the magnitude of the attack, and all 3 terror organizations targeted at the same time. Overall, I think it sent a very clear message, and it was a very, very robust response to the heinous act by the terrorists in pahalgam. And you mentioned the kind of damage that is visible from Pakistan media itself, from their videos, from their from the clips, and the kind of casualties that they are themselves kind of giving the figures. You also mentioned the funeral being attended. I think that is important to see because it shows a clear nexus between the Pakistani establishment, the military establishment, the Pakistani hukumat, and the terror network, so to say. And it is for the world to see what really is happening there. It is time that the world now starts asking Pakistan some serious questions about their linkages with such organizations and why are they perpetrating and continuously supporting such organizations.
Absolutely, but General Bikram Singh, in reaction, we've seen over the last few days and a little more of the ceasefire violations, the heavy artillery firing that we've seen across the border, some damage on the Indian side as well. Do you think the response from Pakistan is going to be restricted to this spurt in terms of activity on the LOC? Or do you think that there is scope for Pakistan to retaliate and time yet not ripe for India to lower its guard?
Jai Hind, Navika, to you, to my co-panelists and all your viewers. At the outset, let me compliment the national decision makers and the military that have carried out a wonderful operation under the aegis of the Honorable Prime Minister. Right, with regard to the enemy actions on the line of control, these operations have been going on. I commanded my battalion in 94-95 on the line of control in Tangdhar. And every evening the firing used to start off. So our troops are pretty well used to this kind of exchange of fire on both sides. But the only difference I find now is that the heavier weapons are being used at the moment, long-range precision weapons are being used. And since we have hit the Pakistanis deep inside in their operational depth of Bahawalpur, 100 kilometers inside, it is the writing on the wall that to ensure their image is retained in their own environment in Pakistan, because Pakistan has been ruling the roost all throughout. Would they like to now lose that primacy, that prima donna position in the environment, or will they like to hit back to retain their position? So that is one point which has to be borne in mind. And to my way of thinking, keeping in mind the psyche of the Pakistani military, their leaders, their commanders, they will hit back. But I personally feel they will restrict all their operations to the line of control area. Along with this, there is every possibility that they will, they will exploit these sleeper cells in various parts of our country. Let's not forget that. They'll try and do that in the northeast as well. But definitely in Jammu and Kashmir, we can see higher levels of insurgency, of proxy war in times to come. Aki, a point which came out from the former Air Chief, that we've taught them a lesson and they'll be on the back foot. Well, yes, temporarily terrorists would be on the back foot. I have had 5 tenures in Jammu and Kashmir. And let me tell you, and also in the northeast, in Nagaland and Manipur and these areas, terrorists, you cannot with them more like this. You have to continue to put pressure on them. So, with what we have done now, this has to be followed up by operations which are covert in nature, where we take on their leaders covertly, and that will have to be done. Otherwise, you'll find these people will, bounce back and start doing their activities once again.
Absolutely. It's almost like, pesticide control within our houses. You have to keep doing it every now and then. And these terrorists who have been coming through the LOC, every few months we have hordes of them coming in, and the underbelly of security always standing on edge, waiting which one of these attempts can be foiled and which one can't, which is why many people today believe that India should carry on and go for the jugular. Faliomi Major, do you think it's time? The advantage is with India. Should India take a long-term solution route, or should it back off after Operation Sindoor Phase 1 that took place in the wee hours of this morning?
Navika, it's not for us to back off. Just for that country across needs to consider whether they want to continue with the terror activities that the General just mentioned, or do they want to be hit every time any kind of a terrorist operation is carried out in this country. And as I said, that if this, I don't know whose avatar he is, whether it's Ziaul Haq or Musharraf, this person, Asif Munir, who seems to be the overall boss of Pakistan, we must understand that our capabilities, our size, our resolve, and it's obvious to the whole world, our economy, our progress is huge. We can carry on with this for a very long time, whereas his country will collapse in a very short time if he pursues this. Now, if there is some wisdom left in that, as a matter of fact, on a lighter vein, actually, the Prime Minister and that Chief of the Army, Asif Munir, should request permission from the government of India, fly down here with folded arms and thank us that you have neutralized most of our terrorist infrastructure. Because this is what they keep saying, that we are victims of terrorism ourselves. So they should be thankful to us that will help them to some extent in neutralizing most of their terror infrastructure. Now, on a serious note, it would be foolish on the part of this country to carry on with the terrorist activities because the whole world has understood them. This false flag narrative of theirs for everything that they do is no longer acceptable to any part of the world. Sorry. And if they realize that, they should rein in their stupid activities and concentrate on their progress. That is what.
But that's expecting for a miracle. Air Chief, can I ask you, Mr. Bhadoria? Pakistan is like a leopard which is not going to change its spots. It's not going to give up on terrorism, and it's not even going to thank India for destroying those terror camps. So what, according to you, should be the approach? This one operation and back off, or go further and decimate this and set an example out of what Pakistan is all about and buy peace for some more time in the long run, because every other day we'll have the same problem raising its head?
Yeah, I think we should clearly look at what were the objectives, and it was to avenge pahalgam and give a very, very strong response. That has been done. Look at the kind of targets, and I mentioned the number of targets, etc., etc. It's a very strong response. It's a very clear message. What needs to be done further? I think we need to start now targeting in terms of the real players because of which this terrorism is, flourishing, and that is the support from ISI and the military establishment. I think that is the crux. And it is time we start, calling them out and see that the pressure comes on them to wean them away from their terrorist interactions and from their, philosophy of using the terrorists against us. That is easier said than done. Do we go for the jugular vein now? I think we should stick to our objectives and in a very rational manner, and that is the stated, policy from the government side, that our response has been de-escalatory in its nature, and it's against the terrorist, and we should, I'm sure we should stick to that. But should Pakistan want to escalate, should they take this to some notches higher, then I'm sure our defense forces have done all the preparation and a suitable response would be given. And should it continue to escalate, then I think the scenario changes and we need to start recalibrating our approach and look at issues connected with jugular vein. I think that is an area that we should address a little later, should escalation go beyond a certain point. But for the present, we should force Pakistan to de-escalate and come down the de-escalation ladder. If they act irrationally, give a strong response. If they continue to escalate, thereafter we should recalibrate our approach.
Well said. Yes, it's a wait and watch. But General Bikram Singh, all day today, we've seen some statements coming in from the Pakistani Prime Minister, but there has been no sighting of the army chief, the very famous Asim Munir, who seems to be the most popular man running the country. May not be popular as much as the fact that he's powerful and running the country. How do you read the situation now? Will it be difficult for him not to retaliate, given the fact that his position within the Pakistan army would have a question mark? His sway over the political establishment will have a question mark. He's also somebody who's responsible for the most popular political leader of Pakistan, Imran Khan, being in jail. From that, how do we calibrate and how do we anticipate what the reaction from Pakistan would be?
Right. You mentioned about his concern for the political dispensation. Navika, this is the only army which actually controls the country. It is not the other way around, the country having an army. It's the army that has a nation. So firstly, I don't think he's going to be led by any political parameters or directives. He's going to formulate his own directive. And yes, he has to save his, he has to have a face saver. He's got a bloody nose. And the other thing we just never forget is that it's a strategic asset. The terrorist groups in Pakistan, especially, Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, these two groups are the strategic assets of Pakistani army. They've been using them against us. So I do not think that whatever we do, they will actually try and suppress them. Even the international pressure will not be able to suppress the activities of terrorists in Pakistan and towards India. But yes, what can be expected now is something, as I said earlier, in the region of the line of control, which will be in the tactical depth, at best at the operational depth of a brigade headquarters or a div headquarters, and we got to guard against it because we have targeted their certain objectives. But then the danger for him is that the moment he goes in for the military targets, then he should be prepared for a wrath from our side. We're going to teach him a lesson. And let's not forget, I brought it out in one of the TV channels earlier. We should see the firepower, global firepower index of 2025. We are 4th and Pakistan is 12th. So they know very well our might. They'll be decimated. So there's no question of their trying to do anything which is beyond the line of control. And if they do, they will do it and then straight away go for China and United States to assuage the situation and to ensure that normalcy returns. But I think it will be in fitness of things in our interest, because if the escalation, we have declared we do not wish to escalate. But should Pakistan attack, counterattack and launch a riposte, then Pakistan, at the moment the ball is in their court, they'll be escalating at the moment. And if they escalate, then they had it. So to my way of thinking, it's going to be a very, very calculated, very controlled, very limited aggression which he's going to show, because he has to save his face in his environment. Otherwise, the military is going to lose its relevance. Military is running the country. They will lose their relevance. So that is what my point is.
Well, Asim Munir has more to lose than gain by escalating the situation, but he does need a face saver. Today, his ego is punctured. Pakistan's entire credibility, or rather the lack of it, is exposed to the world, and its prowess as a military destination clearly questioned, with the manner in which Indian braves have gone and taught this lesson to the Pakistanis. It is having its honor in shreds, and what will be the fight back? Will it be limited? Will it escalate? And then how will India respond? Well, our eyes on those developments. But for now, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on this very special segment on a day when India feels proud after Operation Sindoor decimates terror camps in Pakistan just so completely and so comprehensively. Thank you very much, sir.